Hey team, happy Thursday. I hope you're all doing great. We're having a pretty good day around here. As you can see, I've got some helpers behind me. Becca is still in Arizona. She gets back tomorrow from her Well training. She's having a great week, and I'm really so proud of her. That being said, I've got my little goobers, so I'm going to not pay attention to them. Y'all not pay attention to them either, although I bet that's going to be pretty hard to do. We got some good stuff to cover today. So I love this lesson and this sermon so much. In fact, it's one of my most famous sermons. No, I'm sorry, forgive me. It's one of my most favorite sermons. I don't have any famous sermons, but it is one of my favorites to teach. And one of the big reasons for that is this. This sermon is all about how God is an Aggie. And Caleb is God's original 12th man. So let's hear it, Gigamags. We're going to have some fun today. No kidding. Caleb is God's original 12th man. When nobody else believed, Caleb stood up and believed. Now we see that Joshua believes too, but Joshua doesn't have anything to say here. It's all about Caleb. Whoop! Gigamags, 12th man. But no kidding. Here, look at this. For starters, option number 2 is really, really good. There's nothing wrong with option number 1, but the reason option 2 is good is because our students are really into horror movies. I don't know if you know that or not. They love scary movies. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. And so go through that, ask them the questions about scary movies, have some fun with that, and then I want you to tag this question on the end of it. Ask them, hey, why do you guys like scary movies? And I don't say that from the standpoint of like we're going to condemn them or pull a fakie on them at the end and get onto them for liking scary movies. Nothing like that. Just see what kind of fruit comes from that conversation about, hey, why do you guys like scary movies? I just think that'll be fun for you. Now, there are 2 things. Lifeway does a great job of teaching this lesson, but there's 2 things about it that I think they left out that are important and really help flesh this lesson out even more, not only for the teachers, but also for the students if they know this fact. Number 1, if you look at Exodus chapter 3, verses 16 and 17, Moses is having a conversation with the children of Israel. This is right after he comes to Egypt for the very first time, and he says to them, hey, God wants to set you free, and he wants to take you to this wonderful place that we call the Promised Land. And when you get to the Promised Land, you're going to discover 2 things. That it's a land flowing with milk and honey, which, by the way, that's just a euphemism they frequently used in that day and age. It just means a really fertile, really lush, really great place to live. So you can tell the students that. Land flowing with milk and honey. It's not that, like, milk is coming out of trees or the river's full of milk. It just means that it's very, very fertile and it's a great place to live. But he tells them it's a land flowing with milk and honey, and also the people who live there right now, they're the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Hebusites, and all the other Ite people that we don't ever talk about very often. All right, they're the Ite people. They live there, but don't worry, God is going to take care of them when you get there. So don't be afraid. Moses told the children of Israel that a little over 6 months before this scenario that we're reading about today happened. It just goes to show you how forgetful and faithless that we are. The other thing that gets left out that I think is pretty important, if you look at Deuteronomy chapter 1, also a pretty interesting situation. The people come to Moses and they say, hey, we want to send spies into the land because we're a little bit nervous about this place we've never been to, and none of them have. In fact, all of them that are there right now have been born into slavery. So can we send some spies in? And so Moses goes to God and says, hey, God, the people want to send spies in. And God says, yeah, no problem, send spies in. And the reason why God doesn't have an issue with sending spies in is because all these spies are going to find out is exactly what God's already told them. The spies are going to be able to confirm God's truthfulness and God's faithfulness. They're just not looking at it in the right light, not like they should have been. Because when the spies come back and they give the report, sure enough, the first thing out of their mouths are, hey, the land is flowing with milk and honey. It's a good land. It's a perfect land. You're going to love it. But also, yes, we did discover that the Jebusites and the Perizzites and the Amorites and all the other Ite people, they're there. They're really big. They're really scary. And again, that's exactly what God had told them. They left out the most important thing God told them, no. I will help you win. Now, here's why I bring this up, because students need to hear this. The promises that God gave the children of Israel really aren't that much different than the promises God has given us. Jesus told his disciples, which applies to us now too, John chapter 16, Jesus said, in this world you will have much trouble. But he didn't leave them at that. He said, but don't be afraid because I have overcome the world. So you're going to have problems in life. And sure enough, our experience tells us, yes, we are. We're going to have problems, yes, because we're following Jesus. And then sometimes we have problems just because we live in a fallen planet. And Jesus was talking about both of those instances, but he said, you're going to have problems. But I've overcome the world. So right there, in 3 things he's promised us. Number 1, he's promised us trouble. He's promised us to always be with us. And he's promised us, I will win. And that's the promise he gave to the children of Israel, and they left off the 2 most important parts. God is with us, and he will win. God has given us the same promises too. Students need to hear that. Students need to know that we're forgetful, just like the children of Israel, but we don't have to be. We can be faithful like God's calling us to be as well. So, guys, I love y'all. Have a great week. Thanks for tolerating my goobers back there. We'll see y'all later. Everybody say bye.
Bye.
Bye.